Dang, my bad. I'll just start over. Hi everyone, my name's Grant. I've done this before. I'm a veteran YouTuber, and I just went, yeah, I know what I'm doing. So how you guys doing? Good to see you. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop messing around. I'm gonna take your calls in a second. I just want to talk about one thing real quick. Trey Lance. I know he's a footnote, right? Doesn't matter. I think he matters this week. Can the Niners afford another slow start? Can they come out and do nothing until halftime? Score 7 points in the first half and win this game? This week, Matt Barrows asked Kyle Shanahan a really fair question. Why don't you bring in Trey Lance earlier in the game when the offense needs a spark and nothing's happening? And Kyle Shanahan basically said if he thought it would help, he would do it, which is a non-answer. And then when pressed by Barrows, Kyle basically said, well, I don't want to start a quarterback controversy. You know, like I'm not going to bring in Trey Lance because Jimmy isn't playing well. He only wants to bring in Trey Lance if the situation dictates it, not if Jimmy dictates it. Well, that's noble, but how many games are you going to lose with that strategy? Huh? Like you should have won this last game against the Packers. I'm not saying you didn't win because you didn't play Lance enough, but you should have won that game. Do you think you can beat the Seahawks averaging 4.5, 4.6 yards per play? That's what you've done the last 2 weeks with the Jimmy Garoppolo offense. The Jimmy Garoppolo offense is hand the ball off and gain 3 yards, or throw a screen and gain 4 yards, or throw the ball maybe 10 yards over the middle and hit Deebo Samuel and hope he breaks 3 tackles. That's the whole offense. It's very, very slow and plodding. And it was enough to beat the Eagles and the Lions. It was not enough to beat the Packers. Is it enough to beat the Seahawks? I mean, Kittle probably will play. He's questionable, but he's dealing with an injury that he sustained week 1, and they're managing it. They let him play. They gave him the ball more. Week 3, he injured it again, the calf. So it seems like you need him on the field as a blocker, as a decoy, but you don't risk making it much worse. So I don't know what you can expect from Kittle in this game. Is he going to be the explosive element in your offense? No, he has a calf injury. Is Deebo Samuel going to be the explosive element in your offense? Yeah, but there's only so many tackles he can break in one game. Plus, he drops passes. It seems to me when Trey Lance is on the field, everything becomes much easier. The Niners go forward quickly. The defenses are on their heels. I know he's not experienced, and he may be really awful, but I'm thinking he's not that awful. I'm thinking this offense couldn't be much worse than what it is right now. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo's fault, but he's limited. The offense is limited. Everyone knows what the Niners do. There are no surprises anymore in the Jimmy Garoppolo offense. You're going against a division opponent that destroyed Jimmy Garoppolo the last time they faced him. He was 11 for 16 for 84 yards, no touchdowns, an interception, a 55 quarterback rating. He left the game early with an injury. They destroyed him. The book is out on Jimmy. These guys know how to stop the Niners offense. You put 5 and 6 guys in the line of scrimmage, force them to throw. Jimmy doesn't throw down the field, end the game. Bring in something new. This is why you drafted this guy. I think this is a good week because if you don't play Trey Lance, I think you're going to lose. You could easily end up 2-3 at the bye week because you didn't want to start a quarterback controversy. That's just how I feel. I think this another game that they're going to lose unless they play a lot of Trey Lance. I think they could have won last week had they played more Trey Lance. Like had they brought in Trey Lance in the first half and not fallen down, whatever was it, 17-0, could have changed things. Are you going to do that again this week, Kyle? At what point are you just going to let your most talented quarterback play? It's usually a good strategy to let your most talented quarterback play. Okay, let's take some calls. Boom. Boom. I mean, this Jimmy Garoppolo offense goes like 3 miles an hour. It's so slow. How much longer can you do this? Hey, Jose, how you doing?
Doing good about yourself, Grant.
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Which is to your point, though, about Trey Lance, which is why I've been saying we might as well just start Trey Lance. I mean, there's really the book is, like you said, the book is out on what the Jimmy offense is. It's it's a lot of relying on the run game, so relying on Debo, relying on the end arounds.
Yeah.
That's
It's not fooling anyone anymore. It's not.
It's really not, and
No.
that's why I've been saying to start Trey Lance, because my whole thing about it is what does Jimmy do that Trey Lance can't do? Like, of course he's going to have growing pains, but Jimmy makes a lot of mistakes too.
Yeah, what high level quarterback player are we seeing? I mean, nothing against Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think Trey can do this stuff.
Exactly. I think so too, which is why I've been saying that. But another reason why I think we lost is what I said last week on the show when I was talking to you, was we were going to lose because of coaching, and that's why we lost against the Packers. Like, Kyle completely abandoned the run game in the entire first half, and D'Amico Ryans immediately went into that single high safety look when you didn't need to. And then they completely forgot about the best receiver in football right now, Devontae Adams, on that last drive when there was only 30 seconds left. And I saw a screenshot, which I thought was pretty interesting. So last week, when one of the callers came on here, they said that they are frustrated when Kyle lets the play clock go all the way down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time last week against the Packers, Kyle, on that touchdown play to use check, the play clock had 12 seconds left. And if Kyle would have just ran that down to 1, all the way to 1 or 0 seconds,
It probably would.
there probably wouldn't have been no time for Aaron Rodgers to make those 2 throws, or to even spike the ball. Because when he spiked it, I think there was about 4 or 3 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
So if you would have just ran that clock down and then Juszczyk would have scored, then the game would have been over at that point effectively. So I thought that was interesting as well. But
and I think, like, if it had been another team, I think fans would have said, hey, the coach needs to tell the quarterback in the headset, snap that ball X amount, like, know the situation, snap the ball with 3 seconds left on the clock. But Kyle didn't do that. And everyone blamed Jimmy.
No, I think Jimmy, even though, like, that we're talking about him, I still give him credit for that last drive. That was, a good of a drive as you would expect in a 2-minute situation. But we wouldn't have been in that situation if Kyle would have had better play calling in the first half, and if D'Amico Ryans would have understood situational parts of the game better, especially being that single high way too much. Man, I was getting so mad. Like, as soon as the Packers went into 4 receiver sets, you just see Tart or Hufanga in the single high safety position. I'm like, why? Why are we abandoning
real quick, I want to come back to this thing with Lance and the offense, though, because to me it seems like the Jimmy Garoppolo offense is getting people injured. Not because it's not his fault, but it's just so limited, and defenses have its number. Like
everybody else doing
the running backs are all getting banged up. George Kittle has to be more explosive. They need more out of him because Trey Lance isn't playing and he's injured. So anytime, like, the long throw down the middle or the long catch at the end, that came at a price. There's a reason they're not calling these things very much the first 2 weeks of the season. So I just think that if you could bring in Trey Lance, run the zone read, have some play action shots down the field, it would put defenses on their heels. It would make life easier for everyone on the offense.
Exactly, because like you're saying, the reason why I think that is, though, is because it's so reliant on everybody else doing their job.
Yeah.
That it puts so much pressure on them instead of allowing.
Also, teams wouldn't know what to expect from the Lance offense. It's totally unscouted. So it would take weeks for people to figure out what Kyle wants to do with this.
Because the reason why that would be is because Kyle can not only do the read option and all that, like, fancy quarterback running stuff, but he could also run his offense too. Like, he can do
exactly. That's why they brought in. That's why I think they brought in Lance instead of Justin Fields. Justin Fields was a pure spread offense quarterback like Kyler Murray. Trey Lance played in a pro style offense. He has the athleticism to do the zone read and stuff like that, but really his whole background in college was under center doing play action. I think that's why he's here.
I think it is too, and the reason why I was so frustrated too watching that game, considering we should have won, is that if you continue to make these type of calls that Kyle is making and D'Amico on the defensive side is making, you're going to end up 2-3 at the bye week. I was literally thinking that as you were saying right before you said it on here, and it's
it'd be a shame if they end up 2-3 at the bye week and Trey Lance really hasn't played much. What a waste.
Yeah, it's and not even just that too, but if you end up 2-3, which is really possible, considering that Seattle always plays us tough and Arizona's just playing at an elite level right now, then you really have no choice but to start Trey Lance. Because what is your season at 2-3 at the bye week? Like, you're going to continue marching on with Jimmy? Like, no, you have to. That's kind of a season at the point where you're kind of forced to start the rookie. And I don't understand the whole Kyle's afraid of stirring up the locker room by starting Lance. Like, what are you stirring up? Like, who are you upsetting? Like, really, who are you? Are you just afraid to not make that decision? I don't understand that, especially when you're considered like this hard-nosed guy anyway.
Yeah, make a decision. Jose, I got to take some more calls. It was great to see you, man. Way to kick it off. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. My guy, Ben Meyerson. What's up, dude?
I'm doing all right. You know, it's a game day here in Tallahassee, so I don't know how exciting that is right now, you know,
cool.
But we might win before November. I don't know. No, I wanted to talk to you today about the corner thing because I know I've been raving about it.
Definitely the most important issue on the team. We talk quarterbacks all the time. Cornerback is the most important issue of the 2021 49ers.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I have an article that I just finished up that's about to come out on All 49ers SI about this problem.
Nice.
And it's kind of a value thing more than anything. I've discovered that while the rest of the league has caught up to the fact that corner is one of the top 4 most important positions,
it's
49ers
important.
haven't caught up.
No.
They haven't.
No.
And, you know,
it's stuck in like 1999 here.
Yeah. Well, you know what they're really stuck in is like 2016, 2017, because tell me if I'm wrong, Grant, but it seems like all the smart moves that the 49ers front office has made has been prior to the arrival of Shanahan and Lynch. And then if you look there on out, there's so many times when I'm not saying they made the worst decision possible, but because of that family atmosphere that the 49ers create, right? They have to hang on to certain guys. They have to overpay for certain guys. And they're not exactly willing to leverage the contracts that they signed a certain way when they intended those contracts to be that way. I mean, we talk about Jimmy all the time, but we should blame the front office for not leveraging that contract in the offseason. The fact that they couldn't get his cap number down, to me, is a problem problem that's symptomatic of 49ers' biggest problem right now, which is that because there's such a family atmosphere, family environment, they don't have that Bill Belichick.
Business. It's business.
Right. People try and compare Kyle to Bill Belichick all the time. I'm sorry. He's not Bill Belichick because he's not willing to just let go first round, second round picks willy-nilly. I mean, listen, look what Bill Belichick has done to picks who don't work out and people who he signed for big contracts. 49ers aren't willing to do that. And quite honestly, the one that hurts the most, well, the two ones that
the Patriots would hang on to Jalen Hurd this long?
God, no. I mean, I don't think they would have even ever signed Jimmy to that number or Eric Armstead to that contract number that he got.
How I know they wouldn't have signed Jimmy to that number? They didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't.
They could have.
They could have. There's all these reports that they wanted, they loved, they were gonna, they didn't. And they were smart not to. They got Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0 right now.
Yeah, exactly. But with the corner thing, the two ones that I think hurt the most, Grant, are Asante Samuel and CJ Henderson recently. Yeah. Because with the Asante Samuel one, the thing that makes it the worst is that if they had just drafted him instead of drafting Ambry at corner and then had drafted a different guard and maybe a different running back, they'd have 3 starting corners right now with Lenore, Mosley, and Asante Samuel. And guess what? All 3 of those guys would be signed through next year too. So you would be fine at corner for the next 2 seasons. And then let's talk about CJ Henderson too. I understand the 49ers don't have a lot of draft capital, but it seems like they could have got him for a 3rd round pick. And I'm sorry, but were the 49ers going to get that good of a corner at 3rd round pick? I don't think so. And I understand there were personality issues with Henderson and all that, but to me, the fact that there weren't any rumblings of San Francisco was the team that called about him, and then you know what, Carolina got him at the last minute, but they were the team that came in second. Like, there's nothing coming out about that. And now the 49ers are going to the scrap heap because they have to, because this is a problem they created themselves. So yeah, no, I've been doing all this research about how the rest of the league values corner, and it's pretty interesting that the 49ers they haven't caught up with the rest of the league right now.
Real quick, here's my philosophy on it. I mean, people argue is coverage more important than pressure? They're both important. You need both.
Yeah.
You need both. The question is, how are you going to go about getting each one? And to me, you need to prioritize coverage in the draft because good coverage players fall off quicker. It takes premium athleticism. By the time you're 28, you may not have it anymore. By the time you're 30, you probably don't. Whereas like 1st round pass rushers have second lives on different teams. And you see teams like Tampa get guys like Jason Pierre-Paul with his 8 fingers, or Ndamukong Suh, who was also a 1st round pick. And you can put Shaq Barrett, you can put it together and you can manufacture pressure. You can get good. I mean, look at Arizona, they didn't draft Chandler Jones. They didn't draft J.J. Watt. You can do it, but it's hard to put together a veteran secondary. Either it's really expensive and kind of old, or really cheap and kind of old, and it's not what you want. So you need to draft it high every year. Yeah.
Well, and look at like, you know, the positions that the 49ers do value. I don't think they're that far off from having really great team building principles, which is you value quarterback, offensive line, and edge. The problem is they value the interior of the defensive line so much they're willing to invest so much more when they don't even really need to. Like, they should be taking 5th round interior defensive linemen or 4th rounders, and not even taking day 1 or day 2 guys, but they go and take the Javon Kinlaws of the world just to get that next defensive lineman. Like, it's kind of this out of whack philosophy where, like you're saying, the rest of the league values coverage so much more. I mean, if you look at the 4 teams, right, who finished the 4 final teams in the playoffs last year, the Chiefs, the Bills, Green Bay, and Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
I think
good secondaries.
They all have really good secondaries, and guess what? Over half of those guys in those secondaries, of the 8 starting corners, half of them are 2nd round picks or higher.
Yeah, all you got to know. Ben, great call, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Good luck today with Florida State. I have no idea who they're playing. Clemson?
No, we're playing Syracuse, but we're probably going to lose. It's
well, you can go root for UCLA vicariously through me if you want.
Hey, I'll go give Chip Kelly some good.
Go Chip! Yeah, always
one of my favorite chips.
All right, man. I'll see you around.
See you later, Greg.
Human Race Win says we drafted Bosa and paid for it to close out the Super Bowl on Sunday night. We have overvalued that position. Yeah, I agree, and I think, you know, they're all in on edge rush. They have no interior rush right now, and it's hurting them. Hey, Korean 49er, how you doing?
I'm good, Grant. How are you doing today?
Great. Good to see you.
I see that the QC the quality control tumbler is back, so I'm happy about that.
Yes, absolutely, man. I'm all in. I just woke up like 45 minutes ago. But I'm here.
That's fair. Couple points to you, Grant. I don't see Kyle progressing since he first became head coach. In the Packers game, at the end, where is the situational awareness because I blame Jimmy and Kyle, because you could have taken that clock down to maybe 5 seconds and given them much less time. To me, I don't see any progress in that.
Well, real quick, hold on. There's that, and then there's the kick, the special teams kick. That never should have went into the end zone. Ridiculous. That should have been a low line drive kick that landed at the 30, the 25, and forced them to jump on it. They said they were afraid the guy was going to return it. Baloney. You can't field a kick that's bouncing around like that. You jump on it, because if you don't, it's a live ball. It's not like a punt. It's a live ball. You got to jump on it. That takes some seconds off the clock. There was no situational awareness. I'm sorry to talk over you. I'll let you keep going. But it seems to me that when you have a play caller for a head coach and not a head coach for a head coach, these are the issues you have.
The other thing that really caught my attention was when Jimmy, after that first chunk play, and then they gave up that second, before they gave up the second play, Jimmy Ward had his arms up in the air. It looked like he had no idea what was going on. And the team still had timeouts. Why don't you just take a timeout and calm everybody down, say, here's a call. Let's make sure.
I feel like Robert Saleh would have done that. There was a story that he called a timeout his first year as a defensive coordinator. Like, he didn't have the right personnel grouping out there. I think he had base and he needed nickel, and he called timeout. And Kyle Shanahan looked at him like, who the hell do you think you are? I don't remember. This story is public record. If anyone could find it, it was a really cool story. I don't know how Saleh told it, but it was like, this was my coming of age moment in the NFL when I just did it. You know, I just called a timeout. So, D'Amico, you can do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe if the defense gave up 10 yards, then 10 yards, and another 10 yards, that would have put a lot more pressure on Green Bay. And I don't think they would have ever been able to get into a field goal position to try and win that game if you just gave up 10 yards for those plays. Yeah. And one last thing, I see this game against Seattle as being a potential disaster, because we don't have anybody that could limit DK Metcalf or Lockett. To me, I see that as a big disaster, and I can see Russell Wilson just gunning the ball 30 yards a pop, and we're going to look defenseless. Nobody's helping us.
They're in a tough spot right now. It's the same kind of situation they were in against Green Bay. Anytime they play split safeties too high, they're going to give up 5 yards of carry. And anytime they bring Jaquiski Tartt into the box to stop the run, the quarterback is going to get the ball and throw it deep immediately to whichever guy he likes best. I mean, the decision-making process against the Niners defense is pretty cut and dry right now. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, to me, I don't see when this
like they can't stop the pass without safety help, and they can't stop the run without safety help.
That's a very bad position to be in.
Yep.
And also when this team was built from this past offseason, I had questions and reservations because you didn't beef up the defensive backfield, especially the cornerbacks, and we're counting on players who are typically injured that have never been able to produce long-term for us during a season. I mean, that's a horrible position to put yourself in as a team.
Well, they might win tomorrow. I don't really expect them to, but the Seahawks aren't that great either. I mean, I don't think the Seahawks are a good team. I've been dogging the Seahawks all offseason. Like, they need to rebuild. They absolutely need to rebuild. And frankly, I would have traded Russell Wilson years ago for Kyler Murray. I like the way Arizona's building their team better. But they still have Russell Wilson. They still have those two wide receivers, and they still have that coach. And it's going to be a really tough game. And if it's close, then I think it favors favors the Seahawks. And I don't see the Niners just pouncing on this team. I mean, they couldn't pounce on Philly, who has like discount Dollar General version of Russell Wilson. So
exactly. I could also see once Russell is successful with deep passes, they can just hand the ball up to Chris Carson. He's just going to gash the defense for 5-6 yards a pop. I mean, that's a death by 1,000 cuts.
Pretty much.
So
go have a great day in Milwaukee.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Great to see you.
You too.
All right. The Rod, People's Champ.
What's going on, Grant?
How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. It's been a while. Good to see you.
Pleasure to see you.
I just wanted to touch on a couple things.
Okay.
The first one, the comment you guys made back on D'Amico Ryans' probably failed efforts to coach the defense. I really don't think it was on D'Amico Ryans by itself. Okay. I think, to be honest with you, Grant, I feel like he's learning how to accept what he has. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just take something in mind. Every time you see the defense making saving tackles, it's always two people that's making the saving tackles, either Jimmy Ward or Jaquiski Tartt. And I think the fact that they have these two athletic safeties are the reason why they're gambling with their cornerbacks as much as they are. Because, I mean, you just think about it, man. I mean, Green Bay did win the game pretty much through the trenches. But nevertheless, I think we did a good job of stopping them from being able to score as many as they should have scored. Mm-hmm. You think about the turnover on downs. I mean, this guy is growing into this defensive coordinator position.
Yeah, real quick, I want to say you're absolutely right. I don't want to be too hard on D'Amico Ryans. He's in his fourth game as a defensive coordinator. Robert Saleh wasn't a good defensive coordinator in his fourth game. D'Amico isn't underperforming or not living up to expectations. He's right where he should be. He should be.
And I think about a conversation that you and I had a while back. I made a comment and you disagreed with me. And I asked you now, what do you think? But I said, I think it was around year 2. Don't you think it's a possibility that Kyle Shanahan needs an offensive coordinator? Because he's trying to do too much. The problem I have with him is that he and LaFleur are both cut from the same cloth. Yep. You look at the decision that LaFleur made in the playoff game last season to not at home. You guys have been complaining all this time. Give Aaron Rodgers a home divisional playoff game, and we'll go to the Super Bowl. They got there. You was deep in the red zone, and you went for the field goal.
Yep.
That's the same thing with Kyle Shanahan. Yep. I mean, anybody that understands football to the magnitude of these guys.
Real quick. They have an offensive coordinator. They promoted Mike McDaniel to that position this offseason, and now all of a sudden the offense is falling apart. Do you find that ironic?
But
do you forget that they promoted that guy?
But does he call the plays?
No, he doesn't call the plays. That's the most important thing, right? Maybe it's time for Kyle Shanahan to actually delegate calling the plays and focus on like the clock, not leaving 37 seconds for Aaron Rodgers.
Because you tell me this, tell me if I'm wrong, man. These guys are being called geniuses before they even got their first Super Bowl. Okay, yeah. With that being said, the time you got the ball back, you should have already had that mindset right then. Right. If we get the ball around. If we still have the ball around the 2-minute warning area, we need to make a focus on running the clock down before we give the ball back. Aaron Rodgers only needed a freaking field goal. Who in the hell gives Aaron Rodgers 38 seconds
to go 40 yards? That's easy. That's 2 completions.
With the depleted cornerbacks.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah. And you don't have any answers for these chips at this point. Like,
right.
You did nothing.
And I'm going to make my last point, Grant. Last point. I'm going to make it quick.
Please.
Man, look here, bro. I don't care what nobody say. Stop doubting yourself. You are in this guy's head. I'm telling you, Brent, you're in his head.
Who's?
This man has made Shanahan.
Oh, okay.
You are in Kyle's head, bro. Look.
Okay.
This man, your whole offseason, you called it. You was watching them practice. You looked and saw how successful Trey Lance was looking, running that type of offense.
Yep.
See, it's one thing I know as a 49er fan is this. It's 4 people that I love to listen to get 49er news. Mike Mayock, Grant, Peter King, and Chris Sims. Okay?
I'll take it.
You got in his head, man. And I think the problem is right now is he's such an egotistical guy right now that I'm going to just change everything because he's in my head. I'm not going to give him that.
Can't let Grant be right. Can't let Grant be right.
Yeah.
Just accept it, Kyle. Just accept it, man. I'm trying to work for you, man. This is all for you. Take credit. Quality control, man.
Rub it in.
Hey,
did you get my DM message I asked you? You had made the question now, who does Jimmy Garoppolo remind you of? I said,
you said, who'd you say? Chad Pennington. I love that. I love that, man. Sorry I didn't get back to you, man. I've had a little stuff going on this week, but
it's okay, man. I'm a great fan of yours, man. You enjoy. You have a good one.
I'm a fan of you too, Rod. You're the people's champ. Good to see you. Nice jersey. Lee, man, it's been a minute. How you doing, Lee?
What's up, Grant? How you been, bro? You been a while?
Great, man. Good to see you. I know it's early over there.
Yeah, not silly. That's why I've been missing the show lately. I always try and catch replays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
what's on your mind?
Shout out to all the callers that are called in so far. They bring up a lot of good points that I agree with, and wanted to talk to you about. It was funny because I think last time I talked to you was before the draft. I didn't like the draft at all. I felt we went offense first 3 picks in the draft. We got a new defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans, and now look, it's not surprising how things are turning out at the moment. The first 2 games, they would give me games I felt like they were games we should have won. Obviously week 3, week 4 was where we played Packers, Seahawks, and that was going to be the true test. Last week I felt like, a lot of people are always going to go on Jimmy because, as soon as he's lost the game, they want Trey in, that's where they can push for it, because he's not in. But Jimmy didn't lose that game. Like, he made some mistakes, but Jimmy always makes mistakes, When doesn't he make mistakes?
Sure, he did not lose that game, nah.
Yeah, he put us in position to win, and he took the lead late in the game. But the problem was, our defense couldn't stop them. And you can't give guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, those kind of chances because, that's what they do. Guys like Mahomes, all of them.
They've done it so many times. So many times.
Exactly. And I think Ben was saying earlier, we should have went after Asante Samuel in the draft, 100%. He was there in the 2nd round. He's been absolutely killing it. I think last time I talked to you, he was actually talking about Asante, and I was in the background, and I was like, waving out to you, ground, like, that's the guy. And that's something I think we're going to regret, same as other players over the years where, I think Kyle, he has control over the offense, and they win offense 3 picks in a row. You should have taken a guy like Asante. And obviously, the other reason I didn't really like the draft was to be honest, I felt we should have helped D'Amico a lot more. And, Rod was just talking about it. Like, he doesn't probably have the personnel right now to run what he wants to run, They're leaning on the safeties, the experienced guys like Ward and Tart to cover these young corners and help them. And he's not going to look good until we get him the guys he needs to run the personnel and run the defense how he wants to. When Salah came in, same position as him, we went out and we went defense the first 2 picks in the draft. We got Solomon and we got Reuben Foster, So, I think Kyle really has to step up.
That is true. First thing they did was help out Salah.
Offense,
Yep.
Yeah.
2019 D Ford, Quan Alexander. Same. Nick Bosa. Yep. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
they went and helped out the head coach who's not using those players, and his offense stinks right now through 3 games.
Yeah. And Cole also, he also, brought D'Amico in through the in-house. So he didn't go and get this real experienced DC that would have been like, oh, I need this for my defense. I need that. He had the power over him to do what he wanted in the draft. Then he also brought John Lynch in too. So, Kyle, a lot of it falls back to Kyle at the end of the day. I heard Rod talking earlier, like me and Rod, sometimes we disagree on players and stuff, but I agree with him too. Like, Kyle has shown his egotistical side, and sometimes he shows like as though he's a really good offensive mind in the game, and he probably is one of the top offensive coordinators if he stayed a coordinator. He still has a lot to learn in leadership, and it showed the other day. I think I was watching another show, and they were talking about Kyle. He's calling the plays still, and he's given over the offensive coordinator job, so-called. But he didn't even know the rotation of the receivers that he was out on the field, and they were asking him, why isn't Sherfield?
Oh, you got to talk to Wes about that.
In the game more. Yeah, and he blamed it on Wednesday. Like, you don't do that. Like, you don't throw your guys under the bus. That's one-on-one conversations. You pull them to the side and have, and that's what real leaders do. That's what true head coaches do, the ones that are smart, but, that's Kyle,
Pretty much. I think Kyle's just focused on his next drive, his next play call. That's what his mind, he's very locked into what he's been doing the last 10, 15 years, and he doesn't have that head coach mindset. And so certain things slip through the cracks on this team. Anyway. Yeah.
And just to finish off, Grant, I feel like this game's a huge game. I feel like, I think I told you for the draft, I felt like we needed to win now. This season, I feel like, nothing's guaranteed. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. You got to play for today in this season. So I feel like we need to win this game because our division's so competitive. And if we lose this game against the Seahawks, I don't think we're going to have a good season. Like, we're not going to be able to compete with the teams like the Rams in that if we fall off this early, get to 500, So this is a big game.
Huge game. People say you're spitting facts and that you're killing it. Ryan wants to know what your Twitter is so he can follow you for more insight.
On my Twitter, Quest46.
There you go. Thanks a lot, man.
No worries. Thanks, Grant. Shout out to everyone. All
right. Anoop. What's up? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Good. I can see that you took my advice on Twitter when to go to sleep last night. So
it was to go to bed. I went to bed late. I woke up early, actually.
Nice.
But yeah, why don't we talk NFL broadly before we get to the Niners?
Okay.
I think the NFL is really exciting this year. If you look at all the teams in the AFC, there's a bunch of new ones, good ones. Cleveland, the Chargers, the Raiders are doing well. I have a feeling Buffalo is going to come out of the AFC. And my cousin is a
Chiefs don't look so hot.
Chiefs are vulnerable. They're vulnerable. They were vulnerable 2 years ago.
They were, yeah. I picked them to win the Super Bowl again this year, but I'm already feeling like, ooh, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. They're, they may be in it, but it could be the Bills' year, at least to make it into the Super Bowl, perhaps. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
NFC is even more competitive, right? You've got Carolina.
Yeah.
You got Arizona. You got the Rams. The Rams look like the Super Bowl favorite after what they did last week, right?
People keep sleeping on the Cardinals.
And the
Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
Cardinals are 3-0, and they have just a ridiculous head coach. Went for that 68-yard field goal. So I understand not taking him seriously, but they probably have the MVP front runner right now. I think he's the odds-on favorite right now, Kyler, so far.
Probably.
I think he is.
Probably. Yeah.
He's pretty good.
He's outstanding.
So yeah, it's a very – last year I felt like the NFC was wide open. This year it's not. I mean, NFC West is ridiculous. Yeah, it's a lot of good teams. Carolina, New Orleans, Dallas, Minnesota, Green Bay. Yeah.
Dallas is playing with a lot of fire. Dak is trying to make a comeback. So,
he's a hell of a player. He's just a hell of a player. And their defensive coordinator, it kills me. It's Dan Quinn.
Right.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan and Dan Quinn went to the Super Bowl, almost won it. He was available. You'd think maybe they like each other and they might want to run it back and just promote DeMeco Ryans. Dan Quinn's doing a really good job so far. And not that DeMeco won't be better than Dan Quinn, but the same reason you're not playing Trey Lance, the same reason you feel like you needed a veteran quarterback, don't you think you need a veteran defensive coordinator too? Or unless you thought DeMeco was going to be better.
Yeah. The only funny thing about Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan is when the Falcons beat the Niners, and I think it was 2019. After the game, if you go back and watch that, Dan Quinn gave Kyle Shanahan a handshake, like a really firm handshake, like "We got you, we got you." So
Nice. Maybe there's a little bit of bad blood.
Yeah. Never know.
Well, the thing with Kyle is when he eventually loses or messes something up, he never takes responsibility. So I wonder what Matt Ryan thinks of him. I wonder what Dan Quinn thinks of him. I'm sure internally, or maybe even somewhat publicly, he's passed the blame off to those two. I mean, a lot of people blame Kyle Shanahan for that loss. You could also blame Dan Quinn for his defense falling apart or him not asserting himself to Kyle and saying, "Hey, run the freaking ball. I'm the head coach."
Would have made sense to run the ball, right?
Didn't do that. He just kind of was a pass. He pretty much let Kyle Shanahan be the head coach, and he was just a defensive coordinator. Anyway, we got off topic. He's a good defensive coordinator. Cowboys look pretty good.
Cowboys look good. So, the bottom line for the 49ers is this season is going to be crazy competitive. Whoever their starting quarterback is going to be, they're in for a fight to get in to the playoffs in the first place. So 2-1 is good. But my gut instinct tells me that they should not have started Jimmy at all. They should have started Trey from day one. And that Jimmy, what was the first play of the year for the Niners? The first play of the year was a fumble.
Yeah.
Isn't that a
if Trey Lance had started and that had been his first play of the year, people would have crushed him for it. Well, he's not ready. But Jimmy does it. It's like, well, I mean, Alex Mack's butt sweaty. What are you going to say? What do you want? He's got a sweaty butt. It's not Jimmy's fault.
Who's the rookie? Rookie?
Yeah,
first play.
Yeah.
So to me, that was a telltale sign this guy should not be there. Look at Jimmy's body language during the interviews. He's jittery, not just in the pocket, but post game. And Trey Lance, I'm so impressed with him. I'm impressed with everything about him. I love his interviews. Like even after the game, he's so humble, small town kid.
Yeah.
And, I think he's just itching to get out there. He's like, guys, I got this.
Like, trust me. Your offense is stuck in neutral. Trust me. Give me a chance. Yeah.
So, look, Kyle's made a lot of bad decisions so far. A lot. But he can redeem himself by, I would say, the organization needs to pivot. This is a NBA change management organizational issue. They need to change their mindset and become good pivoters. Like things change. Like you started Jimmy, but you know what? Things change. Now Trey's a starter. And then you make other adjustments. Then you learn how to close out games in the fourth quarter. Like you make adjustments and you change things because the talent's there.
Yeah. Agree. Anoop, I got to take some more callers though. You're killing it. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Great to see you. See you soon. Before, real quick, Nathan says, do you ever realize how many times James Garoppolo shrugs his shoulders during his interviews after a loss or any negativity toward him? Does he care? Does Jimmy Garoppolo care? That's my thing with Jimmy. I don't think he cares enough to be great. And there was a report that came out this week that the 49ers felt that it was hard to get him prepared for games. And then Kyle said that was inaccurate. But does he care? Yeah. Does he care enough? I don't think so. That's why I'm always like, why are you smiling right now, man? Why are you shrugging your shoulders? Can you give me a little like I don't know. I grew up on Steve Young and Jeff Garcia. That's what those guys cared. I'm just saying. Martin.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? How you doing?
That was fast. Hey, I actually got a funny story for you, man. I thought I'd switch it up. But I want to say it was when we were 0-9, the first year Shanahan took over. It was C.J. Beathard won that game against the Giants, correct?
Yep.
0-9. It was either that year or it was 19 when we played against the Panthers when we destroyed them with Tevin Coleman. One of those, I don't know how I got them confused, but either way, I take my wife and two of my kids to the game, and when you first walk in, they scan your tickets in, and there's always like a bunch of stuff you can do, well, either way, the first thing we go to is where the pregame show's at. We know Jeff Garcia, Dan Feldman, you got to spin that little thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So I thought I'd give you a funny story. So we're in line. People start. Jeff Garcia starts talking to us. The commercial goes on. It's like an hour before the game. Starts signing stuff. Jeff Garcia. Everybody goes to him, obviously. And I'm pretty good with names. I know who they are. Dan Philman, the redhead. So he comes up to me and I'm like, Matt Mayoko, could you sign my thing? Oh, he got super pissed. And he's like, my name's Dan Philman. And I was like, oh,
it's hold on.
It's Dave
Feldman. It's Dave Feldman.
No, I was like, yeah, I got Dave or Dan. Dan, no?
It's Dave.
Okay, Dave. He's like, it's Dave Feldman. And I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. And then so he signs it for me, all pissed off, just signs it, and then I'm like, oh, thank you. And as he's walking away, I can hear my two teenage sons. They're kind of laughing. I'm like, what? What's so funny? He's like that. Remember there was a taller guy, like a bald head. He was like I think he was like our old school defensive lineman. He was on the show too. He would always talk about his ex-wife. Tall dude. He was on the show, like I said, with Jeff Garcia, Bill Romanowski, all them. Okay. But either way, he told him, "Hey, what's going on?" And Dan Feldman or Dave Feldman told the dude, "Hey, some dumbass just called me Matt Mayoko."
That's funny.
I thought that was funny, man. I thought I'd share that story with you.
It's a good story, though. I'll tell Dave that happened.
That's funny. Hey, no, I got one question.
Sure.
Hey, about what do you think the over and under is on? Because I know this is a Lance day. So, Lance, what do you think that he plays a whole series this game, man? A whole series.
Better if they want to win. I mean, if they're trying to win this game, I would highly recommend that. I don't know if they're trying to. I don't know what Kyle's trying to do though. Hard to say. What's on Kyle's mind right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought I'd give you a laugh, man. That
was a great story. Thanks, Martin. Have a good one, man. Yo. King Giovanni.
You see me?
Yes.
Yeah. What's going on,
What's
Grant?
up, man?
Man, I got two things for you today, man.
Okay.
First things first, I want to say I think Kyle Shanahan is scared of pressure. I think he's scared of pressure. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, obviously the 2 Super Bowls blown, but the fact that someone passed on Tom Brady, and I felt like, okay, if you want to open up your playbook, it's fully open with Tom Brady, and you didn't just pass on Tom Brady. You passed on Tom, Gronk, Antonio Brown, like all the people that were going to follow him over here to come play with us, to play with Tom Brady. So, and I felt like that was probably too much pressure for him because that was guaranteed win it all or that you got to go. That would have put him in that position. Which is why I think that they draft so weak to save their jobs, because the main thing saving their job right now is George Kittle and Fred Warner. The fact that they struck gold so late,
Yeah.
So I feel like they draft weak every year so we can give them excuses. Oh, well, they don't have the team when you literally could have had Asante and Creed Humphrey. So I just feel like he's scared of pressure. To me personally, that's how I feel. And my second thing is why
he just
I feel
takes the
that
path of least resistance, so no one criticizes him.
Right.
I feel that.
Right.
Yeah.
You get me? Yeah. So, so I have a huge problem with Kyle right now. Like, I don't have any problems with Jimmy G. He's not putting himself on the field and stuff, So my problem is with Kyle right now. Second thing is I feel that we should beat the Seahawks tomorrow. Like, we should. Like, last week I told you, I don't know why everybody was so amped up that we were going to go 3-0 like Aaron Rodgers wasn't on the other side of the football. I told you that last week. This week, I'm saying we should beat them, but I have a different reason for it. Even though they have Russ over there, I have a different reason. So to the real Niners fans and the Cohn heads, don't get mad at me, but I tuned into a Seahawks live stream after they lost last week.
Oh, wow. And they were just like the sky's falling, right?
Their fans are probably worse than us right now. Like, they literally want everybody out. So this was all for film and game tape on my end, But they all, surprisingly, there was 3 names that kept popping up. The main one, they wanted DK gone. The second name popping up was DJ Reed, surprisingly. And then the third one wasn't so surprising, which was Pete Carroll. So I feel in my mind and my heart, I feel they're about 2 to 3 years away from a full Miami Dolphins rebuild, like letting everybody go, getting 100 first-round picks, Yeah.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think there are a few, just because how frustrated the fan base and the locker room seems to be. I think they're closer to the rebuild, and I think we're closer. We have a 3-year window to a Super Bowl, so I feel like this is the perfect time to kick them while they're down.
Yeah.
Like while they're so frustrated, this is the time we should get them like they did to us when we were down. They kicked us when we were down. They had no remorse, and I feel like we should beat them, and we should beat them so bad that we make them make an impulse decision. Maybe give away a first or a second rounder for a 1-year rental or something. But let's break this team up earlier than
and that franchise,
you know,
and that
break the whole
dynasty.
franchise
And
up,
that
dismantle
dynasty,
all of them. So I think it's time. I think that the fan base and the locker room is just so frustrated right now that if we could send them to last place in the division and 1-4, I think they'll be closer to the end than we expect. And this is the perfect time to jump on them because their fan base is worse than us right now.
The perfect springboard for the 49ers going forward.
Yeah, so those are just my 2 things I wanted to come and say, man. I'm gonna be in your hood tonight. Later, I'm going to UCLA.
Nice.
I'm going to Habibi Cafe, the hookah lounge.
Oh man, that's nice, man. Have fun, dude. Have a great time.
Yeah. I'll talk to you next week, man.
All right, man. Have a good time. Habibi, dude. I haven't been to Habibi Cafe in hell long, but that place will be there forever. It's right across the street from Diddy Reese. Conspiracy theory: Kyle wants his dad for GM. Ha! That's funny. The thing about Habibi Cafe is they always have a Bentley parked outside. It's probably in the same Bentley for 20 years because they want you to know that whoever owns that place is doing well. So shout out Habibi. What's up, Karan? How you doing?
How are you?
Doing great. Wish I was at Habibi Cafe right now. But I don't smoke hookah anymore. I don't do that. That was a bad habit in college.
Hey, you know what? We've all grown since college, right?
I was like, there's nicotine in this? You're kidding me.
No.
You're
really?
kidding me.
Really?
Now I have to quit? Oh, okay.
As you're drinking caffeine right now, probably.
I came home from college so surprised that I was addicted to nicotine. You're telling me that having a little bit of my friend's cigarette every night makes me addicted? Wow, for 4 years.
4
Well,
years.
okay.
Yeah,
okay, I guess I need to quit now.
Yeah.
And I haven't smoked a cigarette in 10 years, but it wasn't fun quitting.
No.
It's not fun. I would never want to do it twice.
No.
Oh, anyway.
No, thank you. So, listen, I know the sky
That's neither
is
here nor
falling
there.
down.
That is neither here nor there.
Right. The sky is falling down. But I was thinking about it. I was, on the East Coast here. It was very late when the 49ers lost. It was almost like, 11:30, 12 o'clock, getting, angry that they mismanaged the clock. Jimmy had, basically an opportunity to put Trey to bed, would have won the game, would have been the hero. We wouldn't have heard Trey for, I don't know, a few weeks, right? 3-0, they would have bought themselves some equity. But that being said, though, to me, football still comes down to talent. And the fact that, basically they spotted either the number 2 or number 3 seed 17 points, came back, had no running game, have a limited quarterback who basically, I think we're seeing this cat and mouse game between Jimmy and Kyle now. Jimmy saying, well, I just throw where he tells me to throw. And Kyle's like, all right, here, throw this. Right. Yeah. And so I think that's an interesting dynamic, but I think Kyle needs to be careful because
between two.
Right. Yeah. He's going to lose the locker room. He needs to be decisive and he needs to win games. And I think the 49ers realize this is their last kind of hurrah, this core group of players. Last dance, or else they're going to get split up and they're expensive. They're injury ridden. A lot of these players might get traded. They may blow up the whole thing. So to me, the locker room's probably a little intense. Yeah. And George probably alluded to that. And the fact that they've got a new coordinator, the running game coordinator, and the running game hasn't been as smooth as it usually. I think that is, for some reason, people have forgot about that. You want to blame the defense, fine, but the running game has been subpar for the last 3 weeks, I would say. Until Raheem went down, I understand. But ever since then, they've had flashes, but a lot of missed assignments, and maybe it's too complicated for them. Maybe they need to be simpler. So that's one thing. But that all being said, they're 2-1. Come on. Yep. They're 132nd,
drive away from being 3-0, but they have to win this week, because if they don't, whoever loses this week is going to be out 3 or 4 games essentially from the first place winner. They're not going to win the division. Statistically, it's almost going to be impossible, because the other team can go 500 at that point, right? And they've got to go, right? They've got to go basically undefeated, run the table. If the 49ers come out of these next 2 games with wins, they're in great shape, because their schedule softens up with talent, right? They should be able to out-talent wins the next few weeks after the bye. They should be able to, and string together some wins. And they should get running backs back. They should ascend. Not worried about the Rams, because they're peaking right now. And, football's long enough where you kind of go like this. I saw the 49ers ascend and kind of peter off when they went to the Super Bowl. I'd rather them doing what they're doing now, struggle a little bit, learn, but,
peak at the right time.
Peak at the right time. But I will tell you this, and you alluded to it a few years ago. To me, what separated the 49ers were after halftime. They blew teams out after halftime. They adjusted, both on offense and both on defense. Where are these adjustments? I do not see them anywhere.
Nope.
They're not happening anymore.
Nope.
Why?
Now, Kyle adjusted the last 2 weeks on offense. He finally got some offense going after halftime, but the defense, they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do against Chips the entire game, and they had to talk about it the next day.
And it takes Bosa to be, as much as we joke around Bosa, but he took ownership of it. You know what I mean? But do you really? Salah not having Salah was going to cost us a game or 2. It's already cost us 1 game.
He's such an asset.
Yeah,
he was such an asset.
Yep. And I think turn around. Salah's also finding out that talent wins in the NFL. You don't have a Nicky Bosa. You don't have.
I'm not sure he's going to win 4 games this year.
No, and you know what? The sad thing is, he'll probably be fired in New York. He got 1 season to do well.
You know what he needs? Quality control. I tried to tell him, man. I was like, look, that's a tough job. You might need a little quality control, but I don't think quality control pays that well. That's the problem.
No, it doesn't seem. I think you're going to nickel.
Doesn't.
Maybe.
No. I'm just saying, these teams, they might want to prioritize it.
Same principles that apply to Rodgers apply to Wilson. You gotta bury him like Kurt did. Some way in the fourth quarter, it's got to be a 2-touchdown lead. It can't be 3. It can't be down by 3 or up by 3. Russell find a way to scramble out of the pocket, throw it at DK Metcalf, and break your heart and score a touchdown. You have to.
You're telling me you don't think Drake Kirkpatrick can cover DK Metcalf? What a hater!
Hey, listen, I'm not going to doubt that a professional athlete can cover another professional athlete once or twice for the whole game. That's where you make your money, right? Right. Jason Barrett could cover DK probably 80% of the time. I don't know how much, and the percentage of the time the other guy can, maybe 50. But you saw what Aaron did. Aaron's like, screw it. I'm throwing every time to Devontae Adams, every single time. And you know what? Why aren't the 49ers doing that? Because it looks like if you throw it up in the air, you're either going to get a completion or a PI call.
Not when Jimmy throws it up in the air. No.
Hey, he underthrew a ball and a touchdown happened for week 1. I saw that live. He underthrew it, but he threw it. He threw it. True. The defense had to be like, all right, the guy's going to throw more than 20 yards on the field. Maybe we don't have our safeties come in that much.
That was the best throw he's made in years. He identified man-to-man coverage. It was a low-risk throw. He gave Debo a chance, as opposed to the one this week against Green Bay. I know everyone's giving him a pass for that, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
That was a definition. So that one upset me the most because to me, he had the other tight end wide open, and it showed that he's a one-read quarterback. It made me very frustrated because it was the right call. He couldn't execute it because of his arm strength, but a good quarterback, Chad Pennington, would have checked down. He would have, and he would have got first down.
That's right.
He would have. You know, being a New Yorker and seeing Chad, that's the difference between him and Drew Brees. Drew Brees would have thrown that knowing he would have made a completion. Had there even been a minute, I'm not going to do it, he would have checked down. Checked down.
Agreed.
And that's the difference.
Agreed. Love that picture in the back. Great shot at Jed York and Parag. It really, I think it's a nice picture.
They probably have the same temperament as these two.
Hey, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
All right, I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time.
Take care. Anthony says team roster will be completely different in 2 years. Kyle will have a mixture of his Washington, Atlanta offenses, very few injured players, if any. Yeah, I think they're going to reload this roster the next couple of years. Will Kyle be here, though? Probably. No. Hey, Waruna.
Hey, how are you after a long time?
Good, man. It's been a while. Good to see you.
Is there echo?
No, I don't hear an echo. We're good.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So first thing, Sibila made a really great point yesterday. She said that it's not okay to lose games, even it's like last second.
It's not a long season. It's a short season. That was a good point.
Yeah, season.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if we think about it, like we have 14 games left to go, 6 are divisional games. Then you have to play Titans and Vikings. Vikings are not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a real hard. Yes.
No.
So
no. Yeah.
So that's the first thing. We need to understand that and stop sugarcoating this team because we are in a tough division and we need.
Wait, hold on. Let me just conceptualize this. You're saying 6 tough divisional games plus the 1 loss already, plus Titans, plus
Vikings.
So that's 9 really, really hard games, and you've dropped 1 already with 8 more to go.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair.
So that's the thing. So that's why we have to understand and make tough decisions because especially I really don't like what George Kittle is doing right now. He's like, okay, when asked about why we can't get the run game, he's saying, okay, defense is coming up front and the gaps are closed. Aren't you responsible for that? You went out and saying, he's my friend, Jimmy is our guy. So he's the reason that other defenses are treating you this way. I think you spoke of this about all throughout the week, how embarrassing this is.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing we have to realize. So maybe Kyle might grow up and it's already started. I never thought that it would start this fast, that people are calling for Kyle's head. Surprised me.
Fast,
really.
Right?
Yes.
Wow.
Not this
Who knew
fast.
that was bubbling so like right there underneath the surface? I didn't even realize that.
Yes.
Niner fans are. It's like we need results right now, Kyle. No more.
Yes.
No more patience or excuses. You're fine.
Yes. And one thing I would say, that's actually fine. The reason is this might possibly not be the last team that Kyle Shanahan is going to coach. And this might not be the last team George Kittle is going to play. Mm-hmm. Our connection, our support is with the 49er team, not with any coach, not with any players. So we have to make sure always as fans, team comes first, not your favorite player, not your favorite coach. Because I saw yesterday somebody was saying, I would rather lose the Super Bowl with Jimmy rather than winning it with Tom Brady. That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Stop saying stuff like that, Niners fans. It's a bad look.
Yes. So fans.
Did Ryan give you that shirt?
Yes, Ryan gave me this shirt.
Nice. Shout out. I haven't talked to Ryan in a long time. Hope he's doing well.
Yeah, he's good. Super busy with his stuff.
Of course. It's a busy time of year.
Yeah. So I'll let you go. Before I let you go, one shout out. Genuine Draft Podcast. So we did our first. They have been there for some time. Crypto Ryan, myself, Beria Bowler, Randon, Payday Trey. We did a episode last week. So hopefully we are going to do it again.
You guys are big MGD fans? Genuine Draft. I like that.
Yes, Genuine Draft.
Like it.
So the Twitter handle is.
You want that genuine draft, not that fake draft. Aruna.
So Twitter handle is genuine draft _SF. Please do subscribe and listen to our podcast. That would be really helpful for our growth.
Like, subscribe, listen. Thank you very much, Runa.
Okay, have a nice day.
All right. Devin, I'm coming back to you. I promise. Joseph, I'm going to get you too, but I'm just going to jump me and the dream up to the front. Because he's got family stuff he's got to do. I mean, it's good to see you, man. How you been?
I'm good. It's been a while since I called in.
Man. Been a while.
You know, I
nice
stay up
shirt,
late.
not to say with the little pocket. It's a really nice shirt, the stripes and stuff. Styling, man. You got a good. I'm just saying. Styling.
I just put the shirt. I just put the shirt on when I woke up.
Player. I like it.
Appreciate it. But if you look at the Niners team right now, we obviously lost to Green Bay, and you look at the other teams in the division. All the other teams in the division, they all made up huge upgrades this offseason. You look at the Cardinals, you bring in J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, he comes back healthy. You draft Zayvon Collins, you drafted Isaiah Simmons last year. You made adjustments to your team to help improve your team because you realize your team isn't as good as you think it is. It's not getting it done. You're not making the playoffs. Look at the Rams.
They reloaded big time.
Yeah, they reloaded big time. Look at the Rams, right? They already had a stacked team, but their biggest issue was at the quarterback position. Then they realized, Jared Goff isn't getting it done for us. He's just not as good as we think. He's not. Yes, he took us to the Super Bowl one time, just like Jimmy Garoppolo took the Niners to the Super Bowl one time. But Sean McVay realized if we want to win a chip and we want to win right now, Jared Goff is not the answer at quarterback, and they brought in Matthew Stafford. You look at what the Niners did. The Niners necessarily didn't bring in any key big free agent names. Obviously, they didn't have the free agency money, but they didn't have cap space. But the Niners, they went out and traded picks to get the 3rd overall pick. The Niners go ahead and draft Trey Lance, and they put him on the bench. And they put him on the bench, right?
Yeah.
And even with this later round picks, like,
and they're like, but we're all in to win the Super Bowl this year. We didn't need our 1st round pick.
Yeah, like if you're all in to win the Super Bowl, even besides Lance, right? That's my little brother.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
That's my little brother. He's waiting for
10 more years. He's gonna be on this show.
Huh? Later,
10 years, he might be on the show.
10 years maybe, but
yeah.
The thing about the Lance pick, right? Obviously sitting on the bench, but even like the later round picks, right? The Niners thought their defensive line was so good, and they decided not to draft like Asante Samuel Jr. in the 2nd round. You go ahead and draft Aaron Banks, who they thought we thought who should have started right away, but in the first 2 games he's been healthy scratches, right? Even the later round draft picks, they're sitting on the bench like Ambry Thomas and and Aaron Banks. All the other teams in the NFC West, they realize that they're not good enough, and they realize they're not good enough, so they rebuild it and they improve their team.
They improved.
The Niners, they tried to improve with drafting Lance. And then he's sitting on the bench, and we can't even run the football. Like if you look at the first 3 games, we haven't been able to run the football. Outside of Detroit, we haven't.
And who are the Niners' big additions in free agency? Alex Mack and Samson Ebukam. Not looking great so far.
I mean, Alex Mack, he was just Kyle Shanahan's guy, which he is a good center, right? I would prefer him over the last center. I think it was Western Richburg. I would rather have Alex Mack, but if you look at the center market that time, Rodney Hudson was available. He's destroying him in Arizona right now. He hasn't allowed 1 sack on Kyler Murray.
He's a great
Zero. Alex Mack already allowed 1 sack on Jimmy, right? I mean, and we can't even run the ball. Like we can't even run the ball.
No,
we can't run the ball, and the run game dictates our offense. If we can't run the ball this week against Seattle, then you can expect Jimmy Garoppolo to win the game with using his arm? No, Jimmy Garoppolo can't win the game using his arm. He just can't.
No,
he just can't. Even the one game that Niners fans bring up.
Yeah.
Even the one game that Niners fans bring up that Jimmy Garoppolo had a great game was against New Orleans in the Superdome. Raheem Mostert rushed for like at least 50+ yards and had like 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Like Jimmy Garoppolo, yes, he played a good game. That's the one game.
Also, Emmanuel Sanders threw a touchdown pass in that game.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders threw a touchdown pass that one game, right? Like, there's that one game that he played good, but still the run game helped him out a lot. If we can't run the football, efficiently, then you can't expect Jimmy Garoppolo to use his arm and win you the game. Especially going up against a dude against even before the game. I remember hearing Chris Collinsworth say, like, can Jimmy Garoppolo, go up against a duel with Aaron Rodgers? Can he outscore Aaron Rodgers by himself? He wasn't able to. Now, obviously the defense, the defense blew it on the last 37 seconds left. But even this week, you expect Jimmy Garoppolo to use his arm and win you the football game against Russell Wilson and go out again in a shootout against Russell Wilson. You're not going to win the game. You're just not. Especially with our defense, like with our weak corners going up against DK and Tyler Lockett. When you could have had Asante Samuel Jr. Asante Samuel Jr. picked off Patrick Mahomes and already has 2 interceptions. And playing man coverage, he had 46 snaps in man coverage, and he only allowed 1 catch, which is -2 yards. Which is for -2 yards. Yeah. Asante Samuel Jr. would be looking really nice right now to have.
He would. That was a real whiff. I got to take a couple more callers because this show's already gone overtime. But it's a pleasure to see you, man. Call back in soon.
Before I get out of here, please subscribe to my channel, Me and the Dream. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers. I'm at 478. So please check out the channel. Please check out the channel.
Check it out. Check it out. All right, guys. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Devin.
Hey, what's up, Grant? How's it going?
Good, man. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Good. I'm calling from San Jose, California.
I've heard of it, man. It's a good town.
It's a little town,
What a town. Anyway.
Hey, so I just got to say, Shanahan fell asleep on February 2nd of 2020, and he never woke up, man. He passed on Tom Brady somehow right after that. I don't know how you do that, first off.
How do you do that? Wow.
Your play calling for that following season, it wasn't the Shanahan we know.
No, it wasn't. 2019 was so impressive, right? Even the most skeptical Shanahan people had to be like, damn, that's really good.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years, it's like,
Yep.
Well, you've had injuries, but where's the creativity?
Exactly. And there was a lot of creativity in that 2019 season. I loved what I saw. Every single game, there was something.
Nothing but
he had
creativity.
tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah.
2020, not so much.
Nope.
And then, after that, you have Aaron Rodgers on the phone. You have, you passed up Brady, the next best guy, arguably even better. He's like, hey, it's my turn. I'll come. If you don't want Brady, I'm coming. Oh, somehow we didn't make that happen. I don't get it. Right?
Real quick, hold on. You know what the difference was between 2019 and since then? You know what happened since February 2nd? He got an extension.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, as someone who I'm creative. I'm a creative. And all I know is that deadlines spur creativity. When you gotta produce, all of a sudden ideas are popping left and right. But when you just get that next 6-year deal and you're looking at your bank account, and you're like, man, I'm worth $100 million, man. You'd be like, man, I'm out of ideas.
Yep.
I don't have the same urgency to create touchdowns in my mind. It's the weirdest thing. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's human nature.
Yeah, he just keeps taking L's after that, man. And then, Rodgers, okay, fine. You trade up, you figure it out. You trade up to number 3 overall for Mac Jones. You don't have Mac Jones right now. So what happened there? This guy is consistently taking L's. Okay, you can somehow make every running back, random dudes pulled up from the practice squad. JaMychal Hasty, he's getting touchdowns. You can make any running back work in the system, but you draft Trey Sermon. This guy stinks.
L.
I just don't get it, man. And it's frustrating as a Niners fan. And
I think what's possibly happening is that people had higher he wasn't as good as people thought.
Yep. But
I mean, he's good at certain things, but wow.
Yeah.
The more we learn about him. Exactly.
And that whole draft was a mess, man. And we're finding out this season somehow the Niners think that they can make it to the Super Bowl right now, but I'm not seeing it. And they need to make some serious changes, and this is the week to do it. So I'm hoping that, something happens this week, and maybe Lance is that spark that we need. So
I don't see what else it could be. I really think that the Jimmy Garoppolo offense has reached its limit.
Hey, maybe Cannon as a running back is what we need. Maybe this guy's going to go crazy. He's going to go crazy.
Great to see you, Devin, man. Have a
good
day.
Too. Take care.
It's the last call of the day.
Hey,
Joseph,
Grant. Thanks for having me on.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Central Coast.
Okay.
So I just wanted to talk about the game tomorrow. We've been hearing a lot about Lance, about Jimmy, but I think a big point that we need to make tomorrow is we need to stop the run. And that's going really under the radar, that the Seahawks are arguably the best offense in football in the first half, but in the second half, that goes downhill because they're not able to enforce the run, and then the whole offense falls apart. So I think that the Seahawks are in panic mode, and the first half might go very similar to the Packers game, where we go down early. Who knows how the offense does, but it's also a big game for Jimmy Garoppolo because last week he wasn't able to, read the disguises of the defense. And, the Packers did a really good job, like Deebo Samuel said, of disguising man and zone. And the Seahawks secondary is absolutely terrible. So I think a big point for tomorrow is we have to stop the run, especially in the second half. And Jimmy Garoppolo has to step up.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to go back and watch. Remember, the new offensive coordinator for the Seahawks came from the Rams. So their mentality on offense is now the Rams mentality, which is run first. It's a run first offense. It's not like Arizona, which is bombs away throw. This is a run first offense. And if the 49ers come out and like split safety soft boxes because they're afraid of getting beat over the top, the Seahawks will run the ball every time. They have no problem with that. Remember 2 years ago when the Niners went to LA and the first drive of the game was like only runs by the Rams. And it was like 8 yards a pop. They scored a touchdown and immediately Robert Saleh had to adjust. He did. They just destroyed the Rams offense in that game. But I don't know if you really want to just go wide 9 and say, run the ball. We're inviting you to run the ball on us. You don't really invite a Rams style offense to run the ball on you. It's like inviting the Niners to run the ball on you. It's inviting them to beat you.
Yeah. Well, I think the Seahawks have actually kind of been kind of a run first team for a few years now.
Yeah.
Because Pete Carroll, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I think Pete Carroll tries to force the run game too much instead of letting Russ pass the ball whenever, you don't need to run.
Right.
So, yeah.
But that is their mentality. And if the Niners give it to him, they'll take it for sure.
Yeah, I think Chris Carson's one of the most underrated backs in the league. So I think if we give them the run, then it's not going to be a fun game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Everyone's focused on, well, how are these corners going to cover these Seahawks wide receivers? They're a little banged up too. They're both going to play. I think Lockett's questionable. Metcalf's going to go, but they're both a little locked. Yeah. So this is a easy way. I mean, perfect week for the Seahawks to say, just hand off. If we can win handing off to Chris Carson, give our guys a little bit of a break, easy. And right now the Niners are showing that they're susceptible. They're giving up 4.7 yards per carry right now. Seahawks averaging 5.1. Got to show that you can stop the run or else you're going to lose. Good call, man. Yeah. We're in the Central Coast.
Santa Maria.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right, man.
Yeah.
Have
Thanks
a good
for
one,
having me on.
Of course. Papa Dragon, Jerry, Shardal. Sorry. Oh man, Shardal's here. All right, man. I'm gonna take the last 3 just because of you three. Just because I'll take the last 3. I promise. Jerry, Papa, Shardal. I'm gonna get real quick though. What's up, Shardal? Shardal. Shardal. What's up?
Hey, Grant. So my question to you is that I don't know why people are hating on Jimmy so much.
Let's talk about it, man.
I don't know why. Like, why do people keep hating on Jimmy so much? Like, he's a good player. I mean, he's pretty decent. I mean, he's not bad at all.
What kind of hate do you hear?
That he's like the worst quarterback. And he doesn't. His throws are off, and he gets in pressure sometimes when his throws are like they're way off sometimes. Like he just throws like an 80-yard pass and it goes incomplete, and he keeps doing that.
How does it make you feel when people criticize Jimmy Garoppolo?
It hurts me when they criticize him because he's like I like he's my favorite quarterback, and like just leave my quarterback alone and just like don't say hurtful things about him. I mean, don't you have great things to say about my quarterback?
I hear you. It sounds like you're a little upset right now.
Yeah, because I just don't like it when people say that. And
did you wake up? Were you thinking about this last night?
And I think Michael Miller's the number 1 Jimmy G hater.
Oh wow, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, he hates Jimmy G.
Wow.
And it hurts me, man, because I thought Michael Miller was such a nice guy. Now he's coming on here saying hateful things about Jimmy G. Like, he hates Jimmy G so much.
Yeah, what's up with that, Michael? You're hurting Shardal's feelings.
I don't like that.
I don't like that. What can't we all get along?
But then if Michael Miller's saying he hates Jimmy G, he's gonna say something so hurtful, like, just like trade your give like sell your Jimmy G jersey and do something with it.
He said that?
No, he might say that because he's a Jimmy G hater.
That. And if he says that, that's just
because he is a Jimmy G hater. So if he's a Jimmy G hater, he might probably say that you should give away your Jimmy G jersey.
That would really hurt your feelings.
Yeah, he will probably say that. I don't agree with him. He's like unpredictable. He can say anything. Like he's
at any time.
Yeah, he's a bomb.
About Michael Miller.
He's a bomb getting ready to explode. That's
what Michael Miller is. Okay, so you're upset about Jimmy Garoppolo getting criticized. That's fair, but what's good in your life right now? What are you happy about? What's going on?
It's just Saturday morning. I'm enjoying my morning.
Nice. Are you gonna watch some college football today? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch some college football today.
Okay. Well, don't let the Jimmy haters bring you down. I want you to have a great Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't want Michael Miller to ruin my day and saying bad
things. Don't let Michael Miller ruin your day. That's what he wants to do.
He wants to ruin my day, but I don't think that I'm gonna let that thing ruin my day.
Don't let it.
I'm not gonna let it.
I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow. We'll do a little Discord tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you later. It's great talking to you, Grant.
Always a pleasure, man. Take care.
See you later.
All right, bye. Asante Samuel Jr. was on this team. He'll be hurt. Ooh, that's rough. But I hear you. Papa Dragon, man, what's up? Papa.
Hey, what's happening?
Papa Doc.
Dude, my man. First, I want to give you some serious props, man.
I like props.
I've been following you for years now. I just want to give you the compliment of being a good, honest journalist. You make your dad proud. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Trying to get, there we go. So I talk a little bit about the psychology of winning and why that seems to elude the 49ers. I believe that everything starts at the top, and I believe it starts with the Yorks.
Okay.
The Bartolo established a very strong psychology of winning that really matriculated through the players. And Yorks came in and went on a whole cost-cutting move and started treating it like, I don't know, Walmart. So
Yeah,
in
agreed.
any particular case, if you look at today, the biggest problem I see is the lack of leadership. Now, I disagree with you very often, to be honest with you, but I never insulted you. I respect your opinions. I think you're off a lot of the time, but most of the time, I think you're spot on. For example, I get you're off on Richard Sherman. We didn't need Richard Sherman because he's this fantastic shutdown corner or what he was. We needed him really because of leadership. They lack intelligent veteran leadership. The minute you have players all of a sudden beginning to mimic a coach who has poor leadership, you do have serious locker room issues.
Yes.
Kyle Shanahan doesn't take accountability. He
No,
doesn't
he
handle the media well. He
No, he
acts
doesn't.
like an entitled child, a kid who's smart, who thinks he's so smart, like supervillain smart, that he doesn't have to answer questions because I'm better and smarter than you. He's very privileged.
Chip Kelly had the
He's lived a
same
privileged
attitude, I
life.
gotta say. Yeah.
Yes, same type of thing. Like there's the most important privilege I think in the world today is parental privilege. Kyle had that. He went to the best schools. He had the best opportunities. He started working for his dad. I mean, he had so many great opportunities, but the lesson he did not learn was how to lead men and how to portray that. So what you have now is Nick Bosa, who's a meathead, doing the same leadership style that Kyle does, not taking accountability, throwing people under the bus.
It's
Happened
D'Amico's
with
fault.
him. It's happening with Kittle.
Yep.
Only person that's acting like a leader that has a good chance to be a good coach, although he may not survive this season, is D'Amico.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they lost the last game because of Kyle Shanahan. Now, let me pivot to Jimmy Garoppolo, who's also a meathead. And what I mean by a meathead, you're not going to confuse him with Peyton Manning, who probably had just as much physical skill as Garoppolo.
Yeah.
But what Peyton
No, I call
did
Garoppolo
is that
Derek
he put his
Zoolander, if you know what
team.
I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
He's
So what you
Zoolander.
see with Garoppolo is he is Zoolander.
Yeah.
He is a meathead. People tell him all the time, "Oh, you're so good looking. You're so good looking." It's just that's not how you develop a winner. It just isn't.
No.
It just isn't. And he had a grand opportunity in that game because when he's on the field, where he messed up in this game is by not winning it. Because again, we've created the psychology. Well, why Garoppolo? Why Garoppolo? Why Garoppolo? Well, because he's a winner. Because he's a winner. But if you're going to be labeled as a winner as your strongest attribute, then ultimately, you need to win. So they've created a paradigm for Garoppolo that he wins, he's good. He loses, he sucks in the fan base. And that's really what's happening. It's the psychology of Garoppolo. And Garoppolo could have put all that stuff to bed. He could throw 5 interceptions. He could fumble the ball 3 times. But if you have the chance to win a game in the last drive, if you're Garoppolo, you better win the game.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now, he's on the field. Is he the one taking the snaps?
Yeah.
Yes. So Brett Favre told Aaron Rodgers this one. He told him this. His first advice to Aaron Rodgers was this. He goes, make plays, win despite the coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's good advice and it's bad advice at the same time. But what he's saying is that when you're on the field, you're the leader. You're in charge.
Yep.
You snap the ball. At what point you want to snap the ball?
Right.
Now people are
Right.
saying, "Oh, we don't
You
know
don't let
if we
something
would
bad
have
happen
scored."
and
Blah blah
just
blah.
shrug and be like, "Well, the coaches, that's what they gave me. That's the play they gave me. It was their fault." Make it happen.
Let me ask you a question. That last drive, would that have happened to a Belichick team? Do you think a Belichick team, the whole entire team,
They
would
would have been
not have
prepared for that
known
situation.
about
They
the
would have been
clock?
prepared for that situation.
Yeah, That's what I'm saying. That's part coaching, but that's Garoppolo's failing because he had the position and the power to take the snap at 2 seconds and throw the same pass to Husek. He had that power. Number two, at the end of the game, people are like, oh, they allowed him to throw the ball. This is Aaron frickin' Rodgers. You don't think he can go 30-something yards in 37 seconds? It's Aaron Rodgers. He's Mr. Hail Mary, right? But here's the biggest problem I had with that drive. It wasn't defensive lapse. I think there were better throws than it was a defensive lapse, to be honest with you. My biggest problem was that when the receivers caught the ball, hit the ground, where's the defensive players that are aware of the clock to get on top of the receiver, tackle him, hold him down, take off more seconds? So the point is they lost the game in a lot of different ways. Are fans overreacting? Maybe a little, because it's the first losses by 2 points. And honestly, if you're a betting man, which I am, and you're betting on a game and you get 3 points and a Hall of Fame quarterback, you take the Hall of Fame quarterback and 3 points.
Yeah.
Which is how I kind of look at this. I look at the current game the same way. It's like both teams have so many different weaknesses, but where the strength is that Russell Wilson's a field general. He's going to make the right call. He's going to run the ball down to the 2 seconds. He's going to scramble for 3 yards for the first down. He's going to throw the ball away instead of throwing a backwards fumble. That's where the frustration is. But ultimately, if you're the head coach and you're playing a football game, this is basic football knowledge. You can't get there with 4, you send 5. You can't get there with 5, you send 6. If he's going to throw the ball down the field anyway, at least we can do is hit him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I don't know how they're going to move forward, but what's happening right now is that Kyle's plan is failing. He's finding out that he's not as good as he thought he was. He's finding out that all of a sudden the people in the NFL are using 5-man fronts to stop their double team blocks, to stop their wide zone their wide zone running game. And now he's saying, oh crap, I got to throw people out of this. Right? Is it Garoppolo's strength? Yes and no. Here's the problem. When Garoppolo first came here, he was carefree. He was like, screw it. I'm going to show it everybody I can do. So he was great. But the minute he got his contract, he's showing up in public with porn stars. He's got this big smile, lackadaisical stuff, not taking any kind of shit. I want a quarterback that's going to yell at the center. Mac, get your sweaty tuckus in gear. Stop letting people run through my line. Brunskill, what are you doing? Yell at these guys. Give me some help. So, how do the 49ers fix this? Obviously, Kyle's going to be here. I think the best leadership that they have in the organization is John Lynch. I think he's good leadership. I think he's been trying to influence Kyle in a positive, passive way. But someone's got to get in Kyle's face and hold him accountable. And that falls on Jed. It just does.
Agree.
Jed's got.
Papa, I got to take another call, man.
In.
You're killing it, but you're on a long-winded rant. I got to take another call. It's good to see you though. Call in anytime. All right. Jerry, take us home.
Hey, Grant.
What's up, Jerry?
I'm going to keep it short, and I'm going to bring it back to the topic. So how should the 49ers use Trey Lance against the Seattle Sea Chickens? We need to use him where we need him, which is the run game. Is San Francisco. So basically, like our last guy mentioned, sometimes our run game isn't working. We the opposing teams use 5-man front. Put Trey Lance in, and now you have the extra blocker. Right now, you run the read option, and that's when Trey Lance can be used in this way. That's or when Kyle needs some deep balls like the preseason week 1 bomb to Trent Sherfield. That's when Kyle can put Trey Lance in, and Kyle Shanahan, if you ever need a chance to use your rookie, if you ever need want a reason to put Garoppolo off the field, that's your chance when your run game isn't working, or when you want to drive ball down the field. So that's it.
Great call, Jerry. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks.
All right. El Jefe says next time ask Trey has practice against the first team D is helping. All right, I will. They don't put him in front of the media very much anymore, but If he plays this weekend, they'll put him in after the game. All right, guys. I went half-hour overtime today. That was fun. We did stoppage time today. Papa, I cut you off. You were doing great, though. Great call, everyone. You did a good job. Had a lot of fun. I'm out. I will be back. See you guys tomorrow. Big game. Thank you very much, everyone. See you guys.